mathematical tool that we are establishing. Okay? How to add vectors at weird angles together. We'll review the steps in a minute, but I want to flip this over to the back because I want you to look at this problem. This is a real-life AP problem. Okay? Here's the thing. You know how I said we're going to solve problems in all these different types of categories: thermodynamics, optics, waves, mechanics, momentum. We'll solve all these different areas. And when you sit down and take the AP test, you know what they do? Some evil diabolical genius has a deck of cards that has all these different little skills you need to have. And this diabolical genius shuffles them all together, picks out 2 cards, and makes a problem that has really weird, diverse topics. Let's solve a problem in an elevator that's underwater. You're like, oh, that involves fluid mechanics and also pulley systems. Or let's involve shooting a laser through a kid pulling a sled. That involves mechanics, tension in this rope, and also optics. They will mix together things in very weird ways. They're not going to be like, this is the mechanics problem. Solve it. Okay, it's all mixed together. That means when you approach a problem, you're not going to know right away what to do. You have to have the tenacity and the resiliency to work through problems that are totally out of nowhere. No context. Okay, so let's look at this question here. A child pulls a 15-kilogram sled containing a 5-kilogram dog along a straight path on a horizontal surface. Isn't the dog supposed to be pulling the sled? Who's riding on this guy? I don't know. It's a dog, apparently. It does not. But pretty demanding dog. Must be a special dog. He exerts a force of 55 newtons on the sled at an angle of 20 degrees above the horizontal as shown in the figure above. The coefficient of friction between the sled and the surface is 0.22. On the dot below that represents the sled dog system, draw and label a free body diagram for the system as it is pulled along the surface. Before you even start a problem like this, you're always going to approach it from one of 2 directions. One, you're either going to think about forces, or 2, you're going to think about energy. Once you start, there are a bunch of different paths that you take. If you pick one and say, all right, I'm going to go with the energy approach. Okay, there are certain things that you will think about then. Or you'll say, I'm going to go with the force approach. In this case, this problem, as we'll learn, lends itself to thinking about forces, because it says right here, like, draw a free body diagram. We talked about that during your freshman year, but obviously we haven't talked about it then. That means you have to be able to identify different types of forces. We're going to spend some time making you better at doing that. But immediately, you probably already know a lot of stuff. Like, the sled dog system is all right here. Okay? And what we do, we're a little short-sighted, but what we do short-sighted is we just imagine everything as a dot. Okay? We take away all the individuality of that dog and the sled and all the complex nature of its structure. We're like, you know what? You're a dot now. Okay? What are the forces that are acting on this thing right here? What do you think? I bet you guys yourselves can name a bunch. Abraham, give me one.
There's 20 kilograms down.
Okay, so there's do you know what's that? What from what? What's causing that force?
Gravity.
Gravity, right? And the force of gravity is also called an object's
man.
weight.
Oh.
Weight. So one force is weight. Okay, and we're going to draw that. And weight is caused by the gravitational pull from the Earth. And so that weight is straight down on it, and we draw a vector to represent that. And I'm going to abbreviate that with F with a little g because it comes from gravity. Okay? Anyone else have any other forces in mind? Anything else that you recognize, Luis?
The kid pulling the sled.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is that the kid is pulling the rope, and the rope is pulling the sled. It all kind of goes together, and so we're just kind of looking at what's specifically happening. It says to the dog sled system, so we're only taking things that are touching, which in this case is the rope. And the direction of that pull is up at a 20-degree angle. So I'm going to draw it like that. And I'm going to write, I'm going to call it, since it's a rope, I'm going to call it Ft. And there's our second force, tension. Okay. What else do you have here? What else do you recognize? Any more? I'll give you a clue. There are a few more. Stephanie. Friction. It says, specifically, it says that there is a coefficient, there is friction. Some problems will say ignore friction, not this one. Which direction do you think friction acts?
To the left.
What do you think, Stephanie? To the left. So, pull it this way, and one thing that's going to matter, we're not going to care too much about this, let me add this, I'm going to also draw it in blue, friction, is the length that you draw these vectors. Okay, it's directly to the left, and we'll learn a lot more about friction later, but the first thing you need to know is that friction directly opposes motion. Okay, so this thing is moving to the right, so friction has to be to the left. Any other forces you can think of? Lizzie? Buoyancy would be if this object was submerged underwater. It is submerged in air, but air is so light that they're allowing us to ignore it. Okay, and that you can always ignore, and it also, I don't know if it specifically says ignore air resistance, but implicitly on AP Physics problems, you can always ignore air resistance unless it says think about air resistance, unless it mentions air resistance in some way. Okay? There's one other force. Anyone know what it is? If you looked at adding these three vectors together, what do you think the overall result would be? You've already learned to add vectors together. We could, trace and like draw these. We could slide friction up to here like that. We could then put gravity down like that, and then look, oh, the result will be down like that. Okay. There's a problem. You can't go underground.
Oh.
So there's a force missing. And the force, it's hard to think about this. You know what force is missing, Jamie?
The ground thing is pushing
The
up.
ground is pushing up. I'm going to draw this one in red, and that's called the normal force. Okay? So let's draw that. It's up. It's not as big, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? There's a normal force that's up, and it's smaller than gravity. Okay? And actually, you shouldn't forget that, because even if you did, read part B. Calculate the normal force. If you're like, oh, there's a normal force. Okay. It's 0. I didn't include it in my drawing. No, that doesn't work. So now, the next step would be to think about the net force, right? In other words, what is the result of all these vectors working together? What we did before on the previous page is we found the x components of each vector. We found the y components of each vector, and then we added those components together. Now, we're actually lucky here, because 3 of the 4 forces are either vertical or horizontal. It means we don't have to use any trig at all. Awesome. The components of this are like 0, negative fg, right? It's just down in the y direction. The components of this guy here, 0, positive Fn. The friction, which I should have labeled F with a little f, would be negative Ff, 0. Right? And then last we have Ft. Ft is at an angle. Do we know what that angle is?
Yes.
And we do. It's 20 degrees. So, using your quickly developing trig, skills of trig, what's this side right here? Ft, let me do it, I'll do it slowly, okay? Let's see, Ft, that's the length, that's our label, but it's also the size of the hypotenuse, it's Ft. So, cosine of 20 degrees, SOHCAHTOA, is adjacent, so I'm just going to call that x for a second, divided by the hypotenuse, which is Ft. It's a little bit harder because now we don't have a number here, but we have a variable. Solve it for x. So Ft cosine 20 degrees equals x. So down here, this is Ft cosine 20. What do you think this y component is going to be? What do you think this y component is going to be? Stephanie, do you have a guess? This one was Ft cosine 20. How about up here? Your instinct is correct. Ft sine 20. Okay. So this vector right here has the coordinates Ft cosine 20 and Ft sine 20. Okay. And then we'd go through and we would basically look at, so what are the overall, the resultant force, let's just write it how we should write it, the net force, okay? The net force, which I usually write as the sum of all the forces, that's a sigma. Wow, I just did a horrible job of doing that right there. Sigma F, what are the components? Well, add them together. So in the x direction we're probably thinking friction is not going to be greater than the pull force. So we're going to have Ft cosine 20 minus Ff. And then we're going to have, what are the two upward forces? Fn, add all the y's here, we have Fn plus Ft sine 20, and then minus Fg. Okay. Before you race ahead and take the next step, which if you remember going back, obviously this problem's harder because there's all these variables in it, right? What did we do over here? We found these. What did we do after we got these? What was the next step? What was the next step? What did we do next? We used the Pythagorean theorem and we figured out the angle, right?
Yeah.
Before you jump in the PT Cruiser here, you have to like stop and think about this problem for a second. And I don't expect you to know this, okay? I'm diving way in. We just like jumped into chapter 5, okay? I just wanted to preview an AP problem for you. Show you it's not that hard. It's really not. Students get intimidated. They look at this font and they're like, ooh, that's the College Board font. It's terrifying. No, it's not. They should be scared of you. Okay? You're not better than me, dog, just because you get to ride around on a sled. So look, before you jump ahead and try to use the PT Cruiser, you should think about something. What do you think is going to happen to the net force in the y direction? That's another way I could have written it like this. If it said, you know what, that's another way of writing the net force. The overall net force is just those two parts, right? The net force in the y direction. I'm going to give you a clue, and you probably don't remember this. Something called Newton's second law, which says that acceleration is net force divided by mass. In order to cause something to speed up, to slow down, or change direction, there must be some overall force acting on it, an unbalanced force, right? It's also Newton's first law. Oh, sorry. There we go. Well, guess what? Is this dog falling into the earth? No. Is it bouncing up into the air? Is it moving up or down at all? Is it speeding up in the up direction or slowing down in the up direction? No, it's just moving horizontally. You know what this means? This thing right here has to equal 0. Mathematically, you can't tell that, but you have to look at the problem as a whole. Okay? This y direction has, all these forces have to equal each other. And if you look at that, that will allow you to figure out what the normal force is. Okay, because you now know it's equal to 0, so you can solve for that force. There are numbers in this problem. I didn't plug them in. I didn't teach you yet. I didn't teach you yet how to find the force of friction. We don't know how to calculate the force of gravity. We'll figure out all those things. I just want to show you. If you know this is set equal to 0, you can find Fn, and that's part B. Okay, once you find the normal force, it says calculate the acceleration of the system. Guess what? You find Fn, and you, and then that will allow you to find, Ft, and then Ft, plug it in here, and figure out what the acceleration is. Okay, it's a lot of steps. The problem sort of unravels. Okay, once you get going. All right, let's set that aside. Any questions? No. Okay. All right, what's your vector, Victor? It's the only one we haven't talked about yet. Yep. Aha. I have a few extras here, so that's probably why. Anyone else missing this packet? Okay. I'm going to go through this pretty fast because we only have 15 minutes left. What are the benefits of a coordinate system? Well, basically, it allows you to have a point of reference, which we call